Welcome back, Stronglong fans. It's Golem time. Well, these aren't just the only girls you see Fango fight. Cause this episode's actually gonna open with them destroying the city, and then Fango shows up. And this is what he does. So yeah, this whole thing is that these girls, these are the Golem girls, were a crazy girl who went on the loose. But it doesn't end there. I mean, of course it doesn't end there. It's, there's still more to go. I know we got, because, of course, we see them attacking. So, yeah, Fango, him and the Golem, we see him show up. Because that's when the Golem girls notices Fango. And then they start fighting. Yeah, it's a big thing. It is quite a big deal. Because this is the part where you see, like, Fango already charging at the Golem girls with the internet tower. Well, let's say he didn't. Let's say he just grabbed it. He says, let's say the internet towers only helps, like, they're not really, like, internet powered. They're just, like, technology powered. That's what they use to power technology. That's how, like internet towers are how they power. It's what the Stronglongs uses to make. That's how computers and laptops and Stronglongs run. That's why most of them are wireless and they don't run out of battery. They're like a non-renewable type thing, like computer, something like that. They don't run on non-renewable power, because this is like a renewable powered version of a computer, because it's wireless and all it needs. And that's why Stronglongs builds a lot of internet towers. They make them like, let's say this one just caused somebody's, like, computer to stop working once someone was working on it, their computer just turns, like, it just turns to a black screen, and then it says lost signal. He says, huh? He's trying to, he's trying to control escape, and then there's a red text says, control and escape doesn't get your signal. Doesn't get ya. Doesn't bring back the signal. It says, sorry, dude. It doesn't say sorry, dude. We see a red text appear underneath the message that says lost signal. It says, control and escape doesn't get your signal back. Silly. Looks like someone, he says, ah, dang. And then Fango, that's when he whacks the golems with the internet tower. And they go, pshh. And then they fall to, and then they all come crashing down. They all come crashing down to the ground, because Fango defeated them. It's funny, you know that, right? It's very funny. And then after he defeats them, we see he gets back to business. That's when we see him defeat the next girls he defeats. And then we see Fango destroy these creatures now. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, this is Now this is another male Lunerboonie. The black one's a male, the red one's the female. Yeah, something like that. Well, I mean, the black one... Well, I mean the white one's a female. Sorry, the black one's wearing blue and the white... It's just the white one's wearing red. That's why I said red one instead of white one. Yeah, and... Fango... You'll see how Fango defeats both of them. So yeah. First he shows up with... That's when he grabs the... That's when he... Let's see, he grabs, yeah. Let's say this mecha suit he's got is, like, kind of... Like, let's say it's kind of like a hamburger-looking robot that he uses to fight these ones. Or let's say... Yeah, the one that looked like... The one he used to fight the Golem Girls was actually a star, like a robot star type mecha suit. And this one's he's using kind of as like a walking, talking burger. And he uses this one to fight these characters. And he's fighting, or these creatures. I would call them the Ranger bots. Or I don't know why I called them that. I just thought it was just the only name I could come up with. Maybe I can let you know if I come up with a better name for these creatures. But yeah, Fango, he uses, let's see what he should use. Oh, I know what he should use. He uses an air raid tower to defeat them. He just fires. Like the loud sound they couldn't handle. And the loud sound, like, blows up their energy core inside of them because they were both robots. They had laser eyes. Yeah, like, the laser came from both their eyes and their mouth. As we saw them destroying like everything, then Fango shows up in his burger mech. And then suddenly they fall. These girls get, well, Lunerboonie's one's a male, not... Shouldn't have said girls, only one's a female. And then that's when we see both of them fall. And then they fall once, and then they fall. They almost crush Fango, but Fango dodges them before they both crush him. But they end up crushing the air raid tower that he was using to defeat them. So he doesn't, like, throw it at them. He just turns it on, and then it gets very loud, and because he realizes that a foghorn, like a foghorn showing up, and then they had to, it almost killed them. But the foghorn stopped too soon before it could defeat them. So that's when they destroyed it. Like, it was right next to a lighthouse. And then that's when Fango uses the air raid siren. That's why you'll see him defeat them that way. That's when he uses that. Like, uses the air raid tower. And then that's when you see the girl made of garbage. You see? Yeah, and you can see her name is Gabby. Gabby the garbage girl. But not only we see Fango notices her, we see her foot. He knows how. That's when he sees like he sees her accidentally step in fire from the devastation she caused. Then she puts it out by sticking it in water. And that's when Fango suddenly throws one of he grabs one of the oil towers and, or let's say when she tries to attack him, he knocks the oil towers onto her. Strong Lungs invention. She knocks the oil tower onto her, and then it explodes and burns her to death. And then that's when we see how, and that's when we cut to the master of the Lunerboonie saying, "Ugh, this is too rough. Why is this so hard? I had enough. I had about just enough of this." "Oh, but you haven't now, have ya? 'Cause wait till you see," she says, "wait." That's when we see someone say, "Hey, don't stress over this. I got a Lunerboonie so strong it can pretty much just about kill the Strong Lungs." He says, "Okay, show me it." Now this is who I was talking about in the Kachina bunny thing. Or no, I think that was I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the Kachina bunny thing. But yeah, this girl, now this is the lizard lady. He shows him the lizard lady and sees just how much damage she can cause. She goes like, "Rah!" She's a tough one. And then he says, "She is a good, wow, she's a tough one. Yeah, she's really fast and she's very dangerous." She says, "Now send her through the dream gate to Strong Lungs." And then that's when we cut back to Strong Lungs, and then Hacker shows up. And that's when he tells Fango that the dream gate just opened. Or let's say that this scene, it's actually at nighttime, and then he tells Fango to get in his mecha suit. And then that's when we see Fango's looking around. He's in Cone Springs at the wind farm. Well, we don't get to that part yet, but yes, this battle does take place on a wind farm. So yeah, Hacker tells Fango to get in his mecha suit, and then that's what Fango does. And then he looks around, looking for the Lunerboonie he has to get. And when he does, fine. Yeah. And yeah, that's when we see him on the wind farm. Well, Fango's looking around the wind farm. That's when we see a red asteroid crash land right next to him. He says, "What was that?" Fango's like, he looks to where the asteroid land. And that's when the lizard lady jumps out at him. Yeah, and she pushes Fango in his mecha suit right across the ground, and then Fango's like, "Whoa!" And yeah, and then he actually bumps his head on one of the wind turbines, and then he knocks it over, or let's say he just almost hits them, and then the lizard lady cuts a few of them down, and they almost land on Fango. Yeah, there's these wind turbines that almost landed on Fango because she she cut them with her tail, and they almost landed on him. But he rolled to the side like, "Whoa!" And then and he said, "Now this is a fast girl. A really fast girl." Yeah, and he realized just how much, how fast she was. And that's when we can see she lands in front of him, and then she roars, and then she goes in for another strike. But Fango goes like, "Whoa!" And then she starts, and then she hits him quite a few times, like "Ow! Ow! Ow!" Yeah, she does she's very fast. Says, "I gotta do something about this. This girl is evil." and dangerously fast. That's what he says. Yeah, he says she's dangerously fast. And then Fango's like, this is crazy. I can't handle this much longer. She's like one of the fastest Lunerboonies I ever seen. And yep, she is. And then she hits Fango another time, and it knocks him over. We see a whole bunch of dust. And then it, get all over the place. She keeps hitting Fango so many times, saying, and then he gets back up, hits her again or she hits Fango again from the front. He goes like, ow! He rolls and says, jeez, this thing is fast. I wish this thing would stop hitting me. Jeez. But it doesn't. And that's, yeah, we see her, wrecking up more of the wind farm. We see, more wind turbines falling over. Well, we don't see what she's doing. It's kind of like, we don't see her, but we can see, the dust she's created and the wind turbines she's knocking over. And then she attacks, and then out of nowhere she shows up and because, she's literally as fast as a fighter jet, and she hits Fango again. It's like, ugh! He's going, ah! Yeah, he keeps using his arms as, dodging tools. And he's saying, you leave me alone, you crazy lizard girl! And then she goes, and then she charges at him again, but then he punches her right across the face. And then we see that, and then she faints for a few seconds before she gets back up. Or she just passes out for a few seconds, but then she gets up really quick. Fango says, I don't want to be your victim now, do I? Or he just says, listen here, lizard girl. He says, I don't want to be your victim. He just tells her that he doesn't want to be your victim, but she can't talk because she's a monster. But she is adorable. Kind thing. He says, listen here, girl. Lizard. He says, listen here, lizard girl. I don't want to be your victim. The only thing I want to do is get rid of you. And then she roars like this. And yeah, you heard that roar. She is not friendly. And then she pushes Fango. And then that's when Fango tries to attack her, but then he pushes her into, or she pushes him into more wind turbines and starts knocking them all over. Yeah, they destroyed quite a ton of wind turbines. Fango's like, yeah, I won't let you get away with this! And he starts getting angry, and then she tries to attack. She goes for her final strike, but Fango suddenly grabs her and slams her onto the ground and starts beating her with both of us. He's like, yeah, he's just doing it with fists. He's just doing one and then the other fist and then the other and then the other and then the other and 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 the other. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm just telling you that he's doing it with his fist. He's doing it one fist and then the other really fast, and then he just keeps punching her, and that's when he grabs the warehouse and then slams it onto her. It's like, Rah! And then she dies. He only crushes her head, but we do see green. But just to let you know, there is green gore. It's green gore, bright green gore. But hey, it's fantasy violence. We all know what's going on here. I mean, it may still be gross, but hey, we all know it's fantasy violence. And that's when Fango say, ah, jeez. We see Fango say, oh, man, now that was one tough fight. He says, but geez. He looks around and sees the damage. He looks at all the destroyed wind turbines, like he sees how much damage him and the lizard lady caused, and he says, oh man, he says, geez, what a mess. Yup, he says, what a mess again. He looks around, he says, oh geez, what a mess. Yup, he says, what a mess again, after he messed up the wind farm a little bit. Because of him and that lizard lady. He broke a fight with a gosh darn lizard girl. And then that's when he leaves. And he goes back to his house. And then the time card that says the next day says... that's when we get the time card, and then we see Fango back at his house saying, are you guys... He says, we see that he's back, and then we see Fango waking up. He wakes up from his bed. He says, yesterday was very rough. Yeah, he just explained. He just says, yesterday was. Yeah, he says, man, last night was very rough. I hope today isn't too rough. That's all I'm hoping for. If another Lunerboonie, he says, I hope I never encounter another Lunerboonie like that again. Yeah, and then Fango says, oh, great, now who could that be? Because Hacker rings the doorbell, and then we cut to Hacker outside after we hear Fango say who could that be when he hears the doorbell ring. He says, oh no, Hacker, please tell me there's not another Lunerboonie. He says, no, it's your reward, because we noticed her dead body at the wind farm. He says, oh, thank you. Phew! I was a little worried there at first. And then Fango says, for a minute there, I thought you were about to tell me that the dream gate opened and there's another Lunerboonie that crashed on Earth. And then the episode ends like that. After Fango says that, and then Hacker gives him his... Well, after Hacker gives him his reward. And then Fango tells him that he told him that he thought there was another Lunerboonie that came through the dream gate.